Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of the NASCAR Heat 5 Career Mode here on the channel. Today we will decide the final four here for the Xfinity series. Now, as I had a big problem actually recording this episode. Basically, I forgot to record audio, just one simple click I forgot to actually do, and that unfortunately caused me to lose all audio in this video. So what I had to do was I had to take audio from a past video and just kind of throw engine noises in the background, so it's not a dead silent video. They're not going to be synced up very well with what you're seeing, but it's a little bit better than just having a dead silent video. So just bear with it through this episode. We won't make that mistake again, hopefully now, as I learned from that really quick. But we come into this round over 30 points to the good to make it into the final four. So in reality, all we really have to do is if we can just finish in the top 10 in these next three races, we should have absolutely no problem making it into the final four to fight for a championship at Homestead, Miami. My teammate Harrison Burton still in the round of 8 here as well, as our teammate Riley Herbst actually got eliminated in the last round of the playoffs. Now, as it came through on lap 3 of 4 at this point here in stage 1, I was using this outside to the best of my abilities. As you guys know, I love to use the outside here in Kansas, and sure enough, we would climb up all the way into P6, now making it up to P5 here on the final lap of stage 1 behind Harrison Burton, our teammate, as we dive down into turn 3. Austin Cindric out in front. He's had such a consistent season, still winless as he tries to come through out of turns 4 to win stage 1, as it's Riley Herbst and Burton side by side to the line. They're second and third. We are P5 across the line here as Chase Briscoe holds us off for that 4th position in the first stage. So far, a very solid effort from us here in stage 1. Very confident in the car. As you guys know, this is a track just based off the past NASCAR Heat games. This is a track I really enjoy coming to, and I always run the outside when I'm here because I can never just make that inside lane work. Now, as we are underway for the start of the second stage, Austin Cindric and Riley Herbst on the front row, Harrison Burton and the 98 of Chase Briscoe on row 2. What could have been potentially already if Riley Herbst had made it to this round of the playoffs, because here he is starting this round up inside the top 5 here in this first stage. Now, as we start stage 2, as we came through though on the exit of turns 4, I pushed way up out of the corner, and that would allow Ross Chastain to actually get up my inside there, contact with both Briscoe and Chastain there as we came through to cross the line, but I could do absolutely nothing on this bottom lane. So I was really just looking for an opportunity to get back up high, and I would get that opportunity. I had to give up another spot though to Justin Allgaier as we came through now out of turns 4, hitting just 2 laps to go. They're going 3 wide in front of us now, as we're going to try and get into the mix of things now between Herbst and Cindric. 3 wide in the middle as we dive down towards turns 1 there, but it's not going to quite work there through the center of the corner. But we're actually going to build back up the run and clear Cindric and get to the outside of our teammate of Riley Herbst, but we would not be able to complete the pass on him, and we would just stay put here in the 6th position as we came through out of turns 4 on the final lap here in stage 2, crossing the line for P6. So one spot worse here in the second stage. Ross Chastain would win stage 2, as he is also one of the drivers right now in this round of 8 looking to make it into the final 4. So far, a very solid car. We're doing exactly in reality what we need to be doing. Like I said, if we can just finish the top 10 pretty much all 3 races, we are going to have probably no problem at all making it into the final 4 now, as the green flag is out in the 3rd and final stage is underway here in Kansas. I would love to actually win this race, of course, and lock ourselves into that final 4 and not have to worry about the next 2 races at Texas and Martinsville. We will be going to Martinsville for the first time ever in the Xfinity series, at least in my lifetime now, as we came through out of turns 2, heading down the backstretch here just behind the 98 of Chase Briscoe. But I would jump up once again to that outside lane. Sure enough, here on lap 17 out of turns 2, we make it work, going down the back straightaway 3 wide with Briscoe and Cindric, and we pass them both and hold now on to the 5th position as we try to get into the mix with our teammate of Harrison Burton, who's trying everything he can to make it into the final 4. He's really turned it up in this last half of the season now, as we're right to that right rear quarter panel of him, a little bit of room between himself and I with 11 laps to go now in this race. Chastain would continue battling for the lead with Riley Herbst. Then on lap 19 though, Allgaier makes it 3 wide up the inside, going for the lead down the back straightaway. Myself and Burton just kind of lurking behind, waiting for an opportunity to pounce, but there was nowhere to go at this point now, as Allgaier is going to go to the point for a moment, and now Herbst would fall in behind him. But on lap 20, I use the outside to my advantage, get to the outside of my teammate of Harrison Burton. We're going to pass him down the back straightaway, get side by side with Herbst, and continue this battle down the front stretch on lap 21 behind us though. Harrison Burton goes blowing up there. His engine completely gives up. He's going to be out of this race. all of a sudden here in Kansas. That would be the end of him. Big playoff implications here in the round of 8, but we would have to continue this battle here for the second position as out of turns 2 on lap 25, we make a 3-wide pass for second over Allgaier and Herbst, but we were struggling to run down Chastain because we cut to the final lap here in Kansas, and we were still side by side with Riley Herbst now as we came through turns 1 and turns 2. Ross Chastain looking to win his way into the final 4 now. Unfortunately, Harrison Burton is going to be in a big hole after this race, and we're going to see that momentarily now as we have a huge run down the back straightaway on the final lap. We're going to send it into turns 3, full send mode, and we slide up in front of Chastain, but it's not going to work now. We leave the door open, and Chastain goes up the inside, and we hit the wall, and Herbst slips through, and he is going to come through to get his first win in the Xfinity Series here in Kansas. What a finish it was here at the 1.5 miles as I decided to just full send into turns 3 trying to beat Chastain. And it obviously did not work. It worked for our teammate of Riley Herbst, who gets his first win, not in the playoffs, but if he would have made it to the second round, Riley Herbst would have just won his way into the final 4. But we came into this race now here in Texas for the second race of the round of 8, and we were now 42 points above the cut line. So we are in incredible shape in reality coming into this race. So no pressure as long as we can just have another solid finish. Unfortunately, we qualified down here in P23, Texas, a track I always struggle at now, as this has been such a good season here in the Xfinity for series for us that we're kind of on the quote-unquote winless streak right now, where we've gone like 3 races without winning, which in reality, the way this season has gone, that's actually a good chunk of time without a win for us now. But going down that into turns 3 on this first lap, we were making up a ton of ground early on here as we got up the inside of our teammate of Riley Herbst, who just got that win, and Kansas in that wild finish there coming to the line. But we would be quickly moving our way forwards. We came through to 2 laps to go in stage 1, only 4 laps. But you notice Harrison Burton, who just DNF'd, he's well outside the cut line now of the final 4. He dominated stage 1, and he would come through to win the stage. I only made my way up into P13, so I was a little bit disappointed with that, as I definitely did not make up as much ground as I was hoping I would, but we would still be set up pretty well going into that second stage here in Texas. But now the eyes are on Harrison Burton. Like I just said, he comes into this race on the outside looking in, and he's going to need an incredible race to get himself even in position to have a chance to point his way in, but he's trying to do it the easy way and win himself into that final 4 as he drove away from the field in stage 1. Can he do it again in stage 2? His back against the wall, and he's trying to make a statement here now as we dive down into turns 1 in this second stage on the opening lap. Now the inside of the 11 of Justin Haley now as we come through out of turns 2. Obviously, I'm just trying to survive this race and just kind of get up inside the top 10 and make sure we get that top 10 finish, and we'll be in just great shape now as we dive into turn 3. We would pass Justin Haley, and we came through now on the final lap of the stage, and I had gained absolutely nothing except I tried to make a pass on Austin Cindric. We were side by side coming to the line, but Cindric hangs on. Harrison Burton once again wins stage 2, and we would only get P10. So like I said, I made a pass for P10 on that first lap, and that was as far as I got. It was just a very lackluster second stage for myself. But now we will get ready to go green here for the third and final stage in Texas. Now, Texas usually not the most exciting race, so it always ends up being a shorter one now as we were underway for the start, though, of stage 3 here from P10, unfortunately, on the outside lane. So we're going to look for the opportunity to get down to that bottom as quickly as possible here as we dive down into turns 1. Harrison Burton sweeps the first 2 stages, and we know how fast he is, and it really does look like if things work out in his favor, he is going to win his way into the final 4. The very race after blowing his engine in Kansas, completely setting his playoff chances up to flame now as we come through turn 3. So running P10, and now as you see Chastain all the way up to the outside. Chastain was so close to winning Kansas, but we took that away from him. We would now get up the inside of him and get up into P8, go up the inside of Cindric, as well as Jeremy Clements, and we were moving our way forwards very quickly again all of a sudden towards this third stage now as we were up to P7. Then we passed Noah Gragson, who had drifted down a little bit, so we passed him for 6th place. Harrison Burton, he was gone. So I get up to 6. I passed Alex Labay with 4 laps to go for P5, and then we just kind of follow Justin Allgaier into the mix here with Clements and Briscoe, but Harrison Burton was long gone, hoping that it would stay green for him now as we came through turns 3. Now at the inside of Clements, approaching 2 laps to go, and out of turns 4, we would be able to complete the pass as well on Jeremy Clements as we came through to cross the line. 2 to go now, and then we would continue following Allgaier, who got past Briscoe. We came through to start the final lap here in Texas. Harrison Burton not even in frame in the corner because he's so far gone. Next flag, obviously, will end the race. So it's all in Harrison Burton's hands now as we clear Briscoe for the moment down the backstretch. But he fights back on the outside as we dive down into turns 3 for the final time here in Texas. Harrison Burton came into here on the outside looking in. His back was against the wall, and now he will win his way into the final 4. Now is Briscoe and myself side by side at the line. He barely gets us as we come through to finish in the 4th position here in Texas. But either way, a great finish for us, and this will set us up very well going into the final race of this round of 8 to decide who will be in the final 4. We come into Martinsville 25 points to the good. It would be more if Harrison Burton didn't win, but still, if we just have a solid finish, we're going to be okay now as we get ready to do my very first ever Xfinity Series race at Martinsville. I've never done this in any NASCAR game, I don't think, ever in my life. So this is certainly a new one for me now as we are underway. Harrison Burton starts up my inside as we dive down into turns 1 here. A very solid qualifying effort here as we started P8 here in Martinsville as we came through out of turns 2. Noah Gragson actually up front for this one. Another driver trying to win his way into the final 4 as we come through now into turns 3. Unfortunately, being on the outside, of course, at a bit of a disadvantage, looking for that opportunity to get down to that bottom as quickly as possible. Sure enough, I would get that chance to get up behind Matt Mills there in the 5 now as we came through out of turns 2 at the inside of Brandon Brown. So being on the inside would obviously be a big advantage to myself. We would send it up the inside of Brandon Brown, pass him, then we eventually got up the inside of Michael Annette, as well as we would send it up the inside of Matt Mills again, and we would be able to pass Annette and then pass the 5 car. So we would be able to end up moving in to that 7th position with just 3 laps to go here in stage 1, but definitely was feeling a little bit slow coming through the field here as we came through to the final lap of stage 1, and I had really gotten nowhere here as we went down towards turns 3. Allgaier up there in P6. He's trying to make it into the final 4 as well, but if Noah Gragson wins this race, Allgaier's not going to have a chance to make it into the final 4 now as we cross the line to get P7 in this first stage at the paperclip. Martinsville, obviously, a track that we're always very, very competitive at in just any NASCAR game. This is my favorite track pretty much to drive at now. It's not just like favorite short track, but just straight up favorite track on the NASCAR schedule. Homestead, obviously, you guys know, is my favorite mile and a half now as we get ready to go green for the start of stage 2 here in Martinsville. Fortunately for us, we're on the inside this time as we dive down into turns 1 behind Anthony Alfredo. Alfredo has been very solid this season here on the career mode. He's always kind of up in the mix, but obviously he hasn't brought much into a playoff battle now as we dive down into turns 3 of the inside of our teammate of Harrison Burton, who's in that final 4. He's the only one locked in. We're not even mathematically locked in, surprisingly, coming into this race, but obviously if we keep doing what we're doing right now, we will make it into that final 4 with no problems at all. So we climbed up into P4 as we came through to 4 laps to go now in stage 2, trying to run down this next 2 drivers of Alfredo and Chastain, and sure enough, by the time we came to the final lap here of stage 2, we would run them down. Now behind me I had Riley Herbst, who was coming up into the mix as well as we come through out of turns 2. We're going to try and send it up the inside of Alfredo as we dive into turn 3. We make it work and even get up the inside of Ross Chastain, the watermelon boy, as we come through out of turns 4 side by side at the line. It's 3rd place in stage 2 as Noah Gragson picks up the stage victory. So Noah Gragson trying to do exactly pretty much what Harrison Burton did. Come in and just win his way into the final 4 now as we would get ready to go green from P3 for the 3rd and final stage now, as the final 4 is just a few minutes from being set at this point now as we are about to be underway now as the green flag drops for the 3rd and final stage here in Martinsville. We're very safe at this point now. 12 laps to go at this point as we dive down into turns 1. We want to clear Ross Chastain as soon as possible. We saw that Gragson is definitely capable of driving away, but I thought maybe if I could get into P2 really quickly, I might have something for him. Sure enough, we get into P2 and clear of Chastain, so we would be able to stick with Noah Gragson now as we came through on lap 26. Less than 10 laps to go at this point, and myself and Gragson were driving away, but I just couldn't quite get to his bumper, and I was trying to just decide how was I going to even try and pass him. We come to 5 laps to go, and I'm still stuck behind Gragson, a little bit of a gap between himself and I. Obviously, I don't want to do him too dirty, knowing the situation that he is in, trying to win his way into the final 4, but obviously I don't want to compete against him at the same time at Phoenix for a championship. Phoenix being one of my weakest tracks in the NASCAR schedule, and unfortunately that will be how we decided to champion now, is at Phoenix. Now as we came to 3 to go, trying to go around the outside, does not work, so I try to get the run off turns 4. Couldn't quite get to him once again. Now as we came through, starting 2 laps to go, and we're going down the back straightaway. We were right on his bumper as I tried to send him into turn 3, but it wasn't enough, and instead he's able to drive away on the exit of turns 4 as we came through to start now the final lap here in Martinsville. Gragson in command as we come through turns 1 and out of turns 2 here on the paperclip for the final time. About a car length between himself and I as we dive down into turn 3. We're going to send it. We get into the back of Gragson, trying to push him up the track, but it's no working well. That made no sense as we come through out of turns 4, but we cross the line. P2, Gragson with the victory, and he locks himself into the final 4, as well as Harrison Burton. Those are the 2 drivers that win their way in. I wanted to be careful with Gragson. I didn't just want to flat out dump him, considering the situation he was in, so I didn't feel like it would be right. But there you see, Gragson, Burton, myself, and Chase Briscoe are the final 4 going into Phoenix Raceway in the next episode, as we will decide a champion there. And hopefully it will be us now, as Austin Hill actually won the Truck Series Championship. But as always, if you guys enjoyed this episode, you know what to do. Apologies about the whole audio thing. We're not going to let that happen again there. So hopefully it was bearable this episode with what I did. But in the next one, like I said, we will decide a champion at Phoenix. There, as you see, the quick driver stats now. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to watch this one, and have a great day, everybody.